Well, today is August the 19th, 2014. My name is Ratibu Jacocks, and I'm interviewing Reverend Clarence Harris for the Archive in Black History in the Inland Empire Project. Your name is spelled Clarence, C-L-A-R-E-N-C-E.
Amen.
Okay, and Harris, H-A-R-R-I-S.
Amen.
Okay, and we're interviewing Reverend Harris in his home in Rialto, California. Thanks so much for letting me talk to you today. Where were you born?
Delhi, Louisiana.
Delhi, Louisiana. And your parents was who?
My father's name was George Harris.
George?
George Harris.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother's name was Isabella Holland.
Holland. Okay, and what kind of work did they do?
Farm.
Farm.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you farm with them?
Oh, yes.
When did you learn to farm?
I learned the greatest part of my farming experience when I was 8 years old.
8 years old?
Yes.
So how did that come about?
It came about because of my mother's action one morning. She couldn't get up to do what she needed to do. And I'm the little smart man.
Okay.
So I said, I talked her into notion to let me go catch the mule and hook him up and go to the field with the men to do the work.
Wow. So your mother would normally go herself?
Amen.
How many sisters and brothers did you have?
I had four, 2 sisters and 2 brothers.
And you were where do you fit in?
I fit in the middle.
You were a middle child?
child.
So they were some older and some younger.
Yeah.
So the older one didn't volunteer, or were they already out there?
Well, we was a split family.
Okay.
Back then, men would just walk off and leave the women.
Okay.
Didn't make any difference. So my father took 2 of the children with him, and my oldest sister was raised by my grandmother.
Okay.
And that left me and my little brother
At this house?
at the house with our mother.
So at this house, are you the oldest now at this house?
Yes.
Okay, so you're the oldest child, so it was kind of natural that you would step up and do what you voluntarily do to go farming when you were 8.
I thought.
Okay, were you, well, if you saying to me if you're 8 years old, schooling, were you in school?
There was no school for me.
There was no school?
No, because there, the young black boys had to work. The only time we could go to school was in the winter time. When it was bad weather, we had to walk 3 miles to school.
3 miles?
3 miles.
And what kind of school did they have? Was it in the church?
Well, one was in the church, but we had a Pilgrim Junior High school 3 miles away. And that's where all of the kids in those areas went.
So you had to walk?
I had to walk.
Okay. And so it wasn't a lot of schooling for you?
No.
And so you learned, how did you learn? I mean, how did you know how to farm? Let's start with that.
Well, farming was very easy. It wasn't anything hard and complicated about farming. All you had to do was just get the field ready and do what you needed to do and plant and protect.
You trying to preach here, Reverend. so plant, you know, get it ready and plant and protect it, and it grows. And
at the end, you harvest it. Yes.
And so you knew, did you know all, when you started learning the whole process?
The whole process, I knew that before I was 8 years old.
Oh, so you already knew?
I already knew because I watched the men, and especially my grandfather. And I was a little fellow, 5 years old, I would walk in the field with him all day while he get the land ready to plant.
So did you know you were learning?
Oh, of course I did.
Oh, okay. And why were you learning?
I was learning because I was interested.
Okay.
I wanted to learn. I wanted to know.
So they didn't have to whip you and say, Clarence, you better get out there.
No.
They didn't have to do that.
Didn't have to do that. I was eager and ready and willing
Wow.
to do it.
Okay, that's a very important. When did this first notion come to you to be eager, ready, and willing? When did that? Can you remember how old you may have been when that happened?
When that happened, I was 8 years old.
You were 8. So all these things were happening to you
before and pregnant.
Okay, so would I be safe to say that you were learning things until you were 8? And when you became 8, a certain knowledge come to you that
I already knew it.
You already knew it.
I already knew it.
But the time to perform then was not there.
That's right, but I did. I'm getting ahead of you.
Yeah. So look, how long did you stay in Louisiana?
I stayed in Louisiana until I was 21. About 22, I left there when I was 22.
So what type of work besides farming did you do while you were growing up?
Are you speaking about after I grew up and understood? Are you speaking about the time before when I had to do all of the things that a young man had to do to take care of a mother and a son?
See, I don't really know what you mean by what a young man had to do. What did a young man have to do during that time? What years were that? What year are we talking about?
We're talking about 1942,
1920?
1940.
1940.
43.
Okay. So this was during World War II.
World War II. I was big enough now to really.
But you didn't participate in World War in the military.
I was too young.
You were too young. Okay, so let's get back now. I'm talking about the type of work you did. You started farming when you were 8, and going through the whole process. Did you do any other type of work after then until you were 21?
Well, we left from where we farmed at, and we need to do something else here.
But come on, let's do it. I don't know. I'm talking to you now, so I wanted to do it with you.
What I think that you need to know about all of these things in the farming business, we farmed until 1946.
Okay.
And at this time, white society, was moving on with other things to take away the farming from us.
Okay.
And here we were raised in the country, and all we knew was country.
Okay.
And they sent us to city, to town. What did we know when we got to town? Nothing.
And what town was that?
Town was, the nearest town was Mangum, Louisiana. And then the large city was Monroe, Louisiana.
Monroe.
Yes.
Okay. So you went there, you were moved there. Who moved you there?
My mother married a preacher, and we was Methodists.
Okay.
And they sent him to St. Joseph, Louisiana.
To preach?
Yes.
Okay.
And then he sent for us out of where we were to come down there because he had a job for us.
Okay.
So we all packed up and went to St. Joseph.
How old were you then? About?
I was about almost 17.
Okay. So you're almost grown when this is happening.
Well, I was grown.
You were grown.
I was a man.
You were grown since you were 8. I don't want to mess up here, but you are much more. Are you looking at girls?
I really didn't care too much about girls at that time because there was so many other things that was more important than girls right then. I only got interested in the girls when I got down to St. Joseph.
Oh, okay. But until then, you were interested in all these other things pertaining to farming or pertaining to what activities?
Pertaining to how to live.
Okay.
How to live long. And these things I had on my mind all the way.
So were you preaching then?
No.
You weren't preaching, but you're studying and you're learning.
Well, let's put it this way.
He's laughing at me.
I was a deacon
Okay.
in the Methodist Church at 10 years old.
Okay.
And in the Methodist Church, they do things different than they do in the Baptist churches or any other church. For that matter, they had the quarterly conference. We had the young folks activities, which was Sunday school and ushering, singing in the choir if you could sing. So these were the activities that I had at 10 years old.
And you participated in those?
Of course I did.
Usher?
Yeah, usher.
Choir?
Yes.
Sunday school?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was the youngest steward. In the Methodist Church, it does not call them deacons, they call them stewards.
Okay.
That's according to the Bible.
Okay.
And I had a certain number of members that I had to see every month to get money or whatever they could give to the church. And then when it come time to make the report, I had to report. I had to make the report in the church.
Well, so how do you get around?
Well, you walked, you spent nights at other folks' houses. You'd walk 3 or 4 miles, and you'd spend a night at someone's house, and then you go further, and then you come back.
So your parents weren't worried about you?
No, I was in good hands.
Why? How did you know that?
Because I had God on my side.
You knew that. Now, how old were you when you started recognizing God? Because we talked about farming and we also talked about you being a steward. When did you recognize God?
I recognized God around 7 years old in my life. Because of the things that I was doing that I didn't really know, but I had something inside of me that was giving me the information and urging me on.
Were they your parents?
No, that was God.
That was God himself, directly.
That was God himself.
So you
His
had
son Jesus, let's put it that way.
So you had a close relationship with God and his son Jesus Christ early on.
Absolutely.
And it came how again now?
When I was 7 years old.
I know, but how did it appear? How did it come? How did you know?
I knew because I was not one that was going to school,
Okay.
knowing how to spell or read.
Okay.
The information was coming from God, and I was getting it because I would look at what you was doing. If you said something that I needed to know understand, I would block it right up there. 2 or 3 days later, I would see somebody, and I would ask them to explain that question to me.
The same thing that you had blocked in your mind.
Right.
Okay. And they would explain it?
Absolutely. This is how I learned to spell and to read as much as I could. This is how I did it. But the one thing I was good at was math. I was really good at that because that's what I wanted to to learn most, to not to be cheated out of the earnings that I had earned.
And that was a mathematical problem.
Absolutely.
And you learned how to count?
I learned how to count. I learned how to add. I wasn't good at multiplying and subtracting, but I could add, boy.
And you could add.
I could add.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, this is a side question. I'm going to get back to what we're talking about. Did you play cards?
I played cards after I was grown.
Okay, so you didn't learn adding and subtracting with cards. Some people I talked to did. Okay, so you get this recognition of God, and God is speaking to you, and you will hear something that someone says, and then if you didn't know it, you would block it, and then you would ask some other people, they will tell you, and then you start learning, and then you started remembering this. So, did you recognize yourself as being special?
Sure I did.
I thought so. Yeah, I'm getting that impression, you know, and I just wanted to know how you felt. Because there's a lot of people who don't know how special they are with much more than what you had.
I was really special.
Yeah, you were really special.
Sure.
So, and that came to you. Now, I really need to get to this. We're going to get to you getting to California because you're not here yet. You're in the city.
Before we get to California.
Okay. I'm still in Louisiana.
Let's go back to when I was 10, 11 years old, back to the church.
Okay.
To certify this point, because this is important to me. When the time comes for the stewards to make their report of what they had gotten from the members to the church, for the church, I had it all itemized, everything in its separate place. And when it come my time to do my thing, oh, I was on it. In fact, the minister said, let's stop this young man right here so we can let the whole congregation understand that he's the only one that know how to do what we're trying to do. The only one knows what we're trying to do.
So I'm still trying to understand how did you itemize it? You said you didn't write. So did you write it down? No, what did you do?
I printed it.
Okay, you could.
I printed it good enough for me to understand it.
Okay, what sister, whoever, what they gave you, you had their name and the amount, and then somebody else, and you had that up. So you were able to add that all up together?
Absolutely.
And
Separated.
And made a report.
Made a report.
And you were the youngest.
I was the youngest of all of the stewards.
And did I understand correctly that you said you were the only one that knew how to do this way?
The bishop stopped everything because of my statements to what I was doing. He said, hold it, young man, let us have the church to understand that you are the only steward has gotten up and explained and gave direct information about everything you done.
And how often did you report this?
Once a year.
Once a year? Oh.
Yes.
So you kept it for the whole year?
Yes, like a secretary. Yeah.
Okay, so where is this going on now? You're in the city now? You still in the
we're still in the country.
You're still farming?
Mm-hmm.
And so how was your fun and games? Play stuff?
I did all of that.
You did with the boys and girls?
Boys mostly. Girls didn't play with boys down there because they didn't allow that.
And what kind of games did y'all play? Was it baseball or football? Or?
That's all we had was baseball. And we played baseball with sticks Anything we had that we could hit a ball, we made our balls.
But did you think about being a pro or playing at a high level or being professional? Because there were Negro leagues.
I knew that wasn't probable for me
Okay.
because of who I was and where I was. I recognized how bad that the society that we live in disbarred us from anything that we needed to do.
So you had no hope or ambitions to go on to that?
Lots of hope.
Okay. Well, then what did you know? Why did you say the society wouldn't allow it?
That was then.
Okay.
And then we moved into another era like now. I did lots of things. I've been a real man of God, who does not have a church today because of mistakes. Mistakes.
Okay.
But I'm happy because of what I did, and because God yet keeps me here for some purpose. Whatever that is, I don't know yet. And why we speaking on this witness right here. Last Saturday, I sit down in the den and I was blinded by a great light for more than 3 hours. I couldn't see her. I couldn't see the television. Everywhere I looked, it was this great light. That was the brightest light that I ever saw. And then I thought, well, what is God doing? God, is you going to take me now, or are you going to let me stay a little while longer? This was all in my mind, what I was saying. The only thing that I spoke out loud about was I told my wife how much I loved her. And I always wanted her to remember that.
That was last Saturday?
Last Saturday.
Okay. And so I'll move along, but you can bring me back. But like I'm trying to get you to California. When did you start being interested in girls in a more serious way?
When I became 18.
18.
That's when girls became interested to me.
And then, did you get married at that time, at 18?
I had to, because I messed around and got a girl pregnant.
That's a mistake too. You talking about mistakes? We all made them. See, I'm kind of.
My wife knows about it.
Well, one of the things I'll put this on the recording. See, I always found you really fascinating to me, personally. I told you this before. And because you remind me of me, and I see you and I see me, and I just like to see somebody that's like me and not like them. But anyway, let's get back. So you had a girl pregnant, and you got married, and then did you stay there in that town?
I couldn't, because there wasn't enough there to do. At that time, this was 2 years later when we first went there. There wasn't nothing to do but pick cotton, and you know you don't have cotton in the spring and the winter to pick. So you have to learn to do other things. So I was doing all of that. I was a truck driver hauling logs from the swamps to the mill.
How much were you making?
65 cents an hour.
Okay.
That's all they were allowed to be. But we made it, so I couldn't live in St. Joseph anymore because it was too small. I didn't have enough room. Knew too many girls.
So the town couldn't hold you.
No.
And where do you move?
Up to a place called Tallulah, Louisiana.
That's a bigger city.
Yes, it wasn't, yeah, it was bigger, and it was more popular because it had more to offer to the black
Now, what
man.
kind of work did you do there?
I worked at an oil mill, cottonseed bean pressing, getting the oil
From the sea.
uh,
And how long did you do that? How many children you have now?
big point.
How many children did you, I don't mean that now, I'm talking about when you moved to the largest city. And
Only one.
You only still have the one child?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, and how long did you stay there?
I stayed there until 1951.
And then what did you do?
We came to San Bernardino, California.
So what made you come to San Bernardino?
One of the boys had auntie here and a lot of relatives, and he thought it was a good place.
One of the boys. Which boys?
Well, his name was Freddie Williams.
Freddie Williams. Okay. And he was from your hometown?
Yes,
And he had moved to San Bernardino?
yes. We all come to San Bernardino together.
Oh, okay. And what happened when you got here? Was this much different than where you came from?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
We should be talking by ourselves.
Well, it's all right.
It's all
I don't
right.
mind. I don't mind.
I'm telling you, there's 5 generations now looking at this, so.
I don't mind talking in front of my wife because nothing have I done that I have not told her.
Right.
She know all of my weakness, all the stuff that I did. She know all about it. But to get to your point about when we came to San Bernardino, California, we had a gospel singing group, and we thought in Tallulah that if we could come west, we could become famous singing gospel. But it didn't happen because of Satan. Members in the group didn't like the status of what was going on. So.
Who were some of the people in the group? Were they from San Bernardino or were they from Louisiana?
They were from Louisiana in San Bernardino.
But they were living here now.
Yes.
Who were some of them? What were some of the names?
Do I have to name?
No, you don't have to.
Okay.
Just one. That was a group. And these were Christians singing gospel music. Okay. All right. Let's see who we talking about. And did y'all sing in nightclubs or only in churches?
We sang in churches. Everywhere anybody would listen to us. And we sang in your living room today.
Yeah.
We just loved to sing.
How many was it?
It started off about 7 of us and it wound up just 4. When we got here, it was only 4 of us. And then we picked up the 5th man after we got here.
And what did you sing? Lead, bass? What?
I was a background man. I sang tenor.
Sing tenor in the background.
In the background. I don't know a song that we sung yet. I can't sing it.
Okay.
All I can do is row in the background.
So you met God when you were 10, and you're doing these things in church in Louisiana. Now you're out here and you're singing in a choir in churches. And when did God call you to preach?
That was in what, baby?
1979.
1979.
1979, because I met you probably in 82 or 83, and you were Reverend Harris at that time, so I don't know you not being a preacher.
I really didn't want to be called a reverend.
You didn't?
No, because I understood that Reverend no man. And that was the wrong thing for me. I wanted to be called a brother.
A brother.
In Christ. But that's a lot of stories to this you're asking me now.
Well, come on, that's why we're here. We got about another half an hour or so let's do it.
How I come about being a preacher.
Uh-huh.
We was on vacation,
Who is we?
me and my family.
Okay. And how many children you got now during that time?
During that time, it was 6 of them.
Six in the family.
This one wasn't with us because she was with her mother.
Okay.
So it was 6 kids, 5 boys and 1 girl. And we were in the northern part of California at Hurlong. And we had a big party on a Saturday night. And the folks in Hurlong told me that we want to hear you sing a song in the morning at church. But I was drunk.
When they told you that.
This is the truth. I was so drunk you could smell it on me, sitting up in church. And the preacher had preached a wonderful message. And he was getting ready to dismiss the church. So he said, no, Reverend, you cannot dismiss now because we got to have here Sister Hall's brother sing before we go. So, oh,
That was you.
that was me. I told my wife, I said, no, they didn't have to be, you go. We sit together back. She tells me, you got to go. So I finally got up enough courage to walk out in the hallway. And as I was walking in the hallway, I saw a banister over the church, a sign, 4-letter word, holy. And I addressed that before I got to anything else I was going to do. I tried to explain what each letter meant in holy.
And what now?
In holy.
Holy. Okay. Holy. Okay.
And I looked at the first letter had my name, Harris. And man, I want to talk about this thing. So I talked about it, and then I turned around and I addressed the pastor, preacher, after he preached. And I told him, I said, I think that you did a wonderful job today, because I wasn't going to church, and so anytime I heard preacher preach, it was great. So I told him how I thought that his message was. And before I could get to the song that I'm going to sing, I didn't know anything anyhow, so it really didn't matter what I said. So he said to the church that, he said to me, telling the church, and I was telling him I was a sinner. And you ask a sinner to get up on a Sunday morning in the church to sing a song for you, when the man of God have preached a message that I thought was the best I had ever heard. Anyhow.
You said that?
Yeah.
And then what?
And so I said, and a sinner being asked to sing a song. I almost said I'm drunk, but I didn't say that. So I struck out on a little song that I had heard him sing. And I sung a line or two on it, and I went to my seat and said, have I given anything today?
That's what you sang.
That's what I was saying. If I have given anything today, I went to see. sat down and I was through because we didn't know the rest of the song.
So what happened now?
Well, after that, they was calling me Reverend. I didn't understand this. I done went from a drunk one day to
Oh, Reverend.
so we was headed from there to Illinois. That's where her.
This the singing group.
No, this was our vacation, me and my family.
Oh, okay.
And we went from there to Champaign-Urbana, Illinois. And when I got there, we were getting ready to go out, and all the ladies started telling my wife, you can't go out with this preacher. And she said, she laughed and said, he's the worst devil in the whole city. He ain't no preacher. But anyhow, that's how it started. And then in the action of this is when I promised God that I would change my life if He allowed me to go on to Illinois and get back home. That I would change and I'd get on board in the church with Him when I got back home. I promised God that. And I did.
You did.
Mm-hmm.
So when were you born? How old are you?
Right now,
Right now.
86.
86, so I can figure the rest out.
Okay.
All right, so how old were you then when that experience took place?
How old I was now? 50.
That was in what, 76, 79?
Yeah, 79.
79.
Around 79.
Huh?
1979.
Yeah, how old would I be in that? Was that?
Well, 28, 79, what, 50? What?
50 something, huh?
Mhm.
I was in.
So you had developed and learned a lot of different things before you came to God,
Yes,
complete as a preacher and serving God.
yes.
So how have the things that you did help you in your life then and even now?
Well, it helped me to balance out the rest of my life because I have to go back and mention her,
Lisa.
Lisa,
Okay.
my oldest daughter,
Okay.
and her two brothers,
Okay.
and her mother, which we could not get along at all.
The mother, not the children. So
The mother,
you and the mother
we just couldn't get
couldn't
along
get along.
at all.
Okay.
We was fighting like cats and dogs every day.
Okay.
I would walk out the house and go rehearsal practice, and if I went back when she thought I was supposed to come back, she either had my clothes in the bathtub or out on the front porch or behind the door. And so she simply got so that she would not open the door. She put the night latch on, so my oldest son by her, Rick, he said, Dad, he said, when you come home, if Mom do not want to open the door, he said, just come down when I get up and open the door for him. He was a smart little boy too. So that's how it happened. And it got so bad till I said, I got to get out of this.
Separate.
But I hated to leave my children. It was hard for me to leave the three of them because those three children was part of my whole understanding about children. That other boy that I had in Louisiana, we didn't make it 2 years. But anyhow.
So how did you feel though when it finally came about that you have to do this? You're out of here. Would you feel? Not what happened, but how did you feel?
I felt like it was something that I had to do because I could see myself about to get in some serious trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how I understand the guidance of God in your life. He will keep you from doing stupid and silly stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was gonna kill my mother.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what I had on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But she stopped me from doing what I had on my mind to do. And I said, okay, Lord, I'm listening. So I got out of the marriage.
And you in California then?
Oh, I'm here in San Bernardino.
San Bernardino.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you talked to me earlier about doing some, building some houses.
Oh, yes.
You did that, started doing that when?
In the early 50s, along about 55, 56.
And you in California when
Yeah.
that's going on. How did you learn that?
If I saw a man do anything, I could do it the next day. Because I had that kind of God-given talent. And I depend on the leadership of Jesus Christ in my life. And he put me in the right position to do a lot of good things for a lot of people in San Bernardino.
So did you build a house from scratch or did you
Build
rehab?
from the ground up.
And who are some of the people that help you do that? Do I know them or are their names?
No, because, well, you might know one of them, Willie Brown.
Yeah.
You knew Willie Brown?
Mm-hmm.
He was one of them. You know Spoon, his brother, Ellie?
No, I
Okay.
don't remember him.
Well,
My wife probably will. She knew a lot of people
right.
before I came. So they work with you too.
Yeah.
So what do you get the money for the material to start the project?
They call it own your lot bill. And so I was smart enough that I didn't have the money, the know-how to go and get the money. So I knew a couple of folks that was in the business. And so I went and talked to them and they said, yeah. And that was called Render Construction. And Render Construction build houses throughout the San Bernardino area. And in fact, one of them is up in Northern California now. I guess he's still living, I don't know. But anyway, they took it over and they gave me a job in their company and allowed me to do things that...
So could you read blueprints?
Huh?
Could you read blueprints?
Of course.
You learn.
Yeah.
So if I understand correctly, you learn a lot of things by watching someone else do it, and you put it in your mind. You had questions, you would ask somebody else to explain it. Then once you got it down, you begin to do it.
I still ask questions.
And you still learning.
Yes.
What you learning now?
Well, you don't want me to tell you what I'm learning now. But since you asked,
I asked you.
I will tell you that I'm learning how to be a man of old age who God has blessed to be 86 years old. I'm learning how to deal with the problem that presents to you.
An older man.
Yes. And like, I'm stubborn. My wife, she told me, she said, I'm tired of talking to you about taking medicine. 'Cause I just didn't like it, I didn't believe in it. So,
I'm just you're so much like me. Go ahead, though. Tell
and
me.
so, And she said, you don't have to be hurting the way you're hurting if you would just take something for the pain. So I got to hurting so bad one day last week. And I said, honey, I have to wish you go to the store and get me some leaves. I had looked at it on television what a leaf would do. So she went and got me some leaves. And thank God I'm able to walk to this chair and sit down at this table in front of you and speak to you about it.
So, who were some of your biggest influences or influence in your life? Who influenced you besides God and Jesus Christ? What you mentioned, of humans, people.
Reverend McDonald.
Okay.
And the old pastor before Fred Williams at Temple Baptist. His name was Reverend, what was his name? Reverend Short.
Reverend Short.
From him I learned a lot because I would sit down and talk with him about anything. He gave me that leeway. Anything that I wanted to talk about with him, I could talk about it with him. And so I got on the question with him by doing something without knowing it and what state of mind that you would like to be in if you did that. And mine was being drunk. And he said, no, son, no. You would never do anything drunk but be drunk.
That would tell you.
So, that's what it was. And the next fellow in my life was Reverend McDonald. He was over at Little Barn on Medical Center in Highland. I learned a lot from him.
What's one of the things he taught you?
Taught me how to read and how to pronounce words in the Bible the best I could. And he always told me, son, he said, never allow yourself to get in a position that you won't be able to do. This is his words to me. And I thank him for it. That's the way I am today.
Will you give that advice to young people today?
Of course I would.
Be able to say it again then so I can make sure I got it
He
right.
told me not to ever allow myself to get in a position that I couldn't handle or do anything about. In fact, if I was at church and a preacher asked me to get up and read a certain scripture, if I knew that I couldn't read that scripture, don't do it.
Okay.
It was important. You don't need to let everybody know how dumb you are.
Well, sometimes I'll correct you when you use the dumb word. It's not the word at all from what I have seen. And I can't let this take that word loose and that let people know. Because you know that it's not true with you. So I'm trying to see a better word that you could use.
Well, it was the better word to use in my mind for that was be misunderstood.
Right. Something you don't understand.
Right.
Right. And we all have things that we don't
Yeah.
quite understand. Right.
And he told me that always remember that every man today who has a master's degree once was the same as you. He had to learn this coming up the stairs. That's where I am, and that's who I am.
So do you feel that certain people are better than you?
I don't feel no one is better than me. I'm the greatest gift God ever put out here.
And that's a key. that's the reason that I'm asking you this. I'm interviewing people from the World War II generation. That's what I call them. You know, they got good memories of 42, 43, you know, during the war. And I haven't found any who didn't believe and think like you. And I'm wondering where that group got it from, and then how does some of our young people lose it?
Well,
And don't have what you're telling me you have.
okay.
Okay.
Practice make perfect. Practice make you better. If you practice a thing, whatever the thing is, you will learn more about it and greater of it. That's what practice does. And that's what I did. I practiced.
Yeah, but I'm talking about how do you know your worth and your value?
Practice.
Tell me how, because I don't quite understand it. What you mean?
When you come home at night, your work does not stop. You come home at night, and that you didn't understand, the day when you were there, you go back over it to find the question or the answer that you didn't have, that you needed to get.
Well, it takes a lot of patience.
Yes, I got patience. Ain't no man got more patience. I got as much patience as Joe. So that's how I learned to do things. And while we're on this same subject about learning about the works out there, this company that I was working for before, I had a lot of southern whites on it. And all they knew was the N-word. And they told me that you will never be nothing, N-word, nigga. Okay, I can accept that. But I'm going to prove to you that I'm better than what you say. So I went on to do the things that in the work field, learning how to build a house. First lay the foundation and prepare the area where you're going to pour the concrete. Get all that ready and do the things that you need to do, and then set the form for the pouring of the concrete. And then from there you put the house on it. I never saw a man build a house hanging in the sky and put the foundation under it. I never saw that. So the only time I did see something similar to that was when they were moving houses from different places here in San Bernardino and building bigger houses in the places where they was moving these from. And when they get them there, they jack them way up in the air. So you had to work under it to get it fixed so they could set it back down on the foundation. That's what I learned.
So what would you say to young people today, 2014? Now, this is going in the future, but I want to know, what would you say to young people in the San Bernardino inland area today?
I would tell them, look, you have to be a man. You have to stand up for the man that God made you to be. You can't cry about things you don't have. You got to get out and get it. I was smart enough to take jobs. I would take your job if I worked with you. That's how smart I was. That's the kind of understanding I had. So when a man wouldn't give me a job, I would go to his job and get my tools just like the wood fellows was working there. Didn't care how long it took. But when I got on the job and on the working, I had them guys cracking up so bad they was falling down laughing, and I'm studying.
So you use this. We got a few more a minute. Where you use this word, man. You know, you be a man. What do you mean by that? Because I'm not sure I understand that word as you're saying it. What's a man?
God issued some things in every man from the time of Adam until now. And every man has the same quality in him that God put in the first man. And somehow the quality never took an effect on some folk. But me, I mastered the quality.
And that's what? What is that? Tell me what that is.
Quality is something inside that you don't see, but you have it in you. And some folks never know that they have quality. So the quality that God put in my father and mother, put in me, I'm putting that same quality in my sons and daughters. And they are smart.
Well, I know that's right.
Really?
Okay, before we find Lisa, did you have any questions you would like to ask your father for the tape? That may be good for the project that I missed.
Let's see, Dad, if you could say just a few things to your great-grandchildren, to little Aiden that has just been born. What is it that you would want for that generation to know?
I would want them to know to do all you can to get the greatest education that you can, because today education is the way. With no education, you don't go, you don't eat, you starve to death if someone don't give you something. So that would be my statement to my young children. Learn the curriculum in the school, and then take the curriculum from the school and put it in you, and then go do what you need to do.
Well, I need to follow up on that question, because the great-grandchildren are going to look at this and they say, well, you know, Papa, you didn't have it, the education that you're telling us to get. Why are you telling us to get it? Why can't we be like you?
You can't, because at that time I was on the edge of slavery.
Okay.
And my children today are not there.
Okay.
We have moved on. And of course we still.
You're still affected some,
Of course we are.
so, but you don't think the generation now, or the future 2 generations from now, will be able to function the way that you did without the education that they need today? You said they can't.
They can.
Okay.
And one last thing that I want to say on this subject that you have brought forth. My great-grandson that was born today, when he becomes 20 years old, an automobile will be costing, just a plain automobile will be costing more than $100,000. That's how it works.
What did it cost when you first remember?
When I first remember the car,
having one.
a brand new car you could buy for less than $2,500. T-Model Ford, Chevy, Oldsmobile, Chrysler.
And a house, how much did it cost for a house when you first remember?
When I first remember, it's when with my first house, where Lisa was raised up in there on Pico. That cost $8,000.
How many rooms did it have?
2. It had 2 bedrooms, a living room, and a dining room and kitchen, and 1 bath.
And 1 bath. So things, the prices were different, the circumstances are different. And so the kids have to get an education to follow the latest. Tell me what I'm saying. Say that
You're
in a
saying it
different-
right, because this is what I always try to advocate. She taught me a lot because she was able to do the things that the boys could not do.
Mhm.
Because the boys would go out and make mistakes and get themselves in a position to where they had a family. School was out. Because I learned that you cannot go to school and learn working in the construction field. You don't have that kind of time.
Mhm.
So, this is what I would say to anybody. And I tell the girls are smart, but they should take time to bring the men up. The men don't understand certain things about the curriculum, whatever the lesson is. They should be able to teach him something, help him. But then some of us are stubborn. We don't want to like me.
You don't want to take that.
No.
I'll leave.
I'm not going to let her teach me.
No.
So that's that.
So where did that come from?
The blessings of God.
Not on the stubbornness.
The stubbornness comes from me in the country having to do things as a little child that I didn't have time to be a child. I had to be grown up. Had to deal with all the insensitive things that the whites was doing to us and still do the work and then try to get the money from it. So I managed it pretty good.
I think so too. I just want to tell you, Reverend Clarence Harris,
No, Brother Clarence.
Brother Clarence Harris, that's better for me too, how much I really appreciate this interview today. I've talked to you before, but now I can go and listen to it all the time without bothering you. But I may have something else that I may want to ask you. After I look at it again, and in the meantime, we all review it, so if we do, I want to leave the invitation open to come back and talk to you again.
Thank
It's
you.
all right? All right, thanks again.